Crystal ball, what happens in Golden State now? What happens there?
I'm a little surprised, Rich. I didn't think we'd have this much clarity this quickly in the offseason about the way they were going to take things. I mean, they're clearly going to run it back with their core. And they have gone from trying to operate on two timelines and have the old and the young meet at the perfect, pitch point to make it work. And that plan fell apart. James Wiseman gets traded. Jordan Poole is struggling. Jonathan Kuminga can't get on the floor. Some good minutes from Moses Moody, but by and large, they've swung and missed on a lot of their young players. And then they look at the old heads, Steph and Clay and Draymond, and they feel pretty good about the state of their respective games. I don't know. To me, their ceiling, even if they do this, their ceiling is definitely lower than it was before. I think they can still win a lot of games. I think they need to do something in the summer if they want to truly be title contenders again. But Draymond has got a player option this summer, and both sides are making it seem somewhat inevitable that they find a middle ground on a multi-year deal. Klay Thompson can have an extension this summer. He's got 1 year left on his deal. He's not going to get the max that he certainly wants, probably not even close to it, but I think something probably gets done there. And the dynasty core is going to keep seeing if they can do it.
And then crystal ball for me, what happens with Ja Morant, and the Grizzlies have said that he's suspended at the moment, but I imagine the league is going to step in and potentially soon. They might not want to stomp on their NBA finals, but something's got to get done. I would think sooner rather than later, but maybe I'm wrong. I'll give you the floor, Sam.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the timing. I do think they might have a window here where they would be excused for taking their time, partly for business purposes, like you said, keep the focus on the playoffs, also because there's just no pressing issue about regular season games just yet. I'd be pretty stunned if they didn't come down pretty hard on Ja on this one. And I feel like this is one of those where hopefully this parallel lands. But, when Draymond Green during that game against the Kings in the first round stomped on Sabonis' chest and then had a lot of antics with the crowd, he did that with Adam Silver in the audience in Sacramento. And I always felt like that was risky business because from a human standpoint, you got to be careful to not embarrass the commissioner. And Adam, I don't know if that's what happened, but that was my read of it potentially. Now, if you look at Ja, this feels like, if you're Adam Silver, you kind of put your neck out for Ja before. You gave him a pretty light discipline on the first Instagram Live gun video, 8 games, but it was really 2 by the time the verdict came down. Pretty soft. And then less than 2 months, you're doing the same thing again. And I think making Adam in the league look really bad in the process. I wrote a column yesterday, pretty tough on Ja, pretty tough on the league, pretty tough on the Grizzlies. It's always telling to me when you write something like that and you don't get any pushback at all. And I think they know, how serious this is. And I think the decision, discipline-wise, is going to reflect that.
Well, just I guess to tag team on top of your analogy to the Draymond Green suspension, and obviously we're talking about apples and oranges in regards to the reasons for the suspension. But he, in the statement from the NBA, just called it up. They said the suspension was based in part of Green's history of unsportsmanlike acts. So if history is being brought into it, the recent history of him getting suspended for a similar offense in a similar way of being caught with a gun, although that one was in the public domain in Colorado with different gun laws, I imagine, that he gets suspended for that, and he mea culpas to Jalen Rose and also to, I imagine, the league. And then this happens now. That has to factor into the league's thinking about what their punishment might be, Sam, I would think.
100%. Absolutely, Rich. And the thing is, too, and these are, to be very fair from a legal standpoint, these are allegations. But as you know, you're also talking about several other instances where the presence of a gun was alleged. The fight that he got into at his house with the 17-year-old basketball player who was there to play a pickup game, and he's been sued in that situation. You have the shoe store incident where his mother had a hard time with somebody at the store, and John, some other people allegedly showed up and threatened that man. For the NBA's purposes, it's just bad business. It's headline after headline with a guy who was, the number one up and coming kind of American-born star, making them looked at every turn. That context, to your point, is going to factor in.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.